Welcome back, 5 Aces.
Battle control initialized.
Hey people, 5 Aces here. I can scarcely believe it, 2 back-to-back casts. When does that ever happen? We are now in the not the semifinals, we're in the bronze match of RAGL Season 16. And we have got ourselves a match at hand. It is going to be Inno, who got swept away by the mighty forces of Fazar in a clean 3-0, even though he made him fight for it in game number 3. And we've got Unano, who has been extremely competitive in his series against Blackened, but ultimately paid the price by basically Blackened exploiting brief windows of vulnerability 2 times, despite being really behind. So yeah, Blackened kind of the comeback king here in this series, and Unano has been putting on a show. And just to showboat a little, he has adopted the colors from Blackened, who has apparently turned red. You know, he's he's in enraged mode. He's like down to 50% health, and then he goes enraged, obviously, and then just turns red, blasts everything with 50% more damage and area of effect. Okay, Inno's rifle's in a good position. Unano is trying to cut the reinforcements. That is such a smart play. I love what he's doing here. But ultimately, this is going to result in the trickling in of rifles, consolidating his forces. Now, good play from Unano. Definitely putting on a number, putting on a great show here. And blind fire into the fog of war from Inno does not catch the enemy forces. Backstab here, that is risky. I would never do that. Never get too close to the oil derrick, because you're just going to give away your position, line of sight, and so on. Now, it's up to the forces of Unano to make something happen blindly. Risk it for the biscuit. That is definitely a high-risk play here. Is he going to tackle the oil derrick? Okay. He has the scout, and basically that's going to give him the intel. No. Don't overcommit like this. Yeah, that was smart. Pulling back, just putting up some pressure. I do not hate the fact that medics have been mixed in. In the early game, for pushing power, they are quite good. Yeah. So what's been happening since last cast? Nothing, because there was literally a 20-minute window where I prepared lunch for my kids. And that was just about it. Weather is absolutely fantastic this time around, and I'm trying to get them into outdoor sports. It's kind of ironic, because I myself am very much an outdoorsy person. And I have started, now that the weather is better, just jogging, doing some light, running to my work, running back and forth in the morning and the afternoons, and that just so good. Feels so good. It's like a 20-minute run. It's faster than taking public transport. But alas, my kids are not outdoor persons at all. Neither of them are. They're coming after the mother, who is a wonderful human being in her own right, but definitely not the sportsy type of person. And it's kind of funny to see them develop in such different directions. One thing they're absolutely certain about, though, is that their food preferences, which is none of the food that we're cooking. If you're parents, you probably know that conundrum. What do we cook for the kids while without it being noodles and dry pasta every single time? Okay, double light vehicle opener from Unano. He's going flak truck plus APC. That is quite some early game pushing power here. Right now he's only revealed the flak truck, not the APC. And honestly, Inno is probably going to have to give up his derricks. Yeah, derrick control has been pretty good thus far, but they're getting blasted away at right now. So let's take a look at income. Yeah, it's a 1k, almost 1k discrepancy here, courtesy of the derricks, but that is going to be rectified in just a hot minute, because the Rangers certainly can't contest and the rest of the army is staying home. First medium is coming out. That seems to be an Inno staple. He goes for the medium tank first before getting out his MCV. He's actually going double medium and another war factory. That is a crazy build. I know that he likes going for a double war factory, but jeez Louise, that is so early. And is he gonna go for... No, he's just gonna go for more and more tank mass. That is looking to be some sort of all-in push, because you can't really... Yeah! He's moving out his original force, his original MCV with his forces. That is a risky build. Man, this could get punished so hard. I guess on this map you get a relatively easy time expanding, but you're still losing on tech timings. He has to make up for it by creating a really, really scary army and then pushing out. Wow, what a crazy build here. Black Truck hasn't accomplished too much yet. Unano also went triple light vehicle. Quadruple, so he's also on the low-tech tier for now, or the low-tech train, I guess. The APC choo-choo train. I love having the APCs mixed in, but they need a different control group. Reason being, they're faster, they're still heavy armor, so they're relatively sturdy, and they do not leave husks, unlike heavy tanks. So what they can do is, as soon as the engagement starts, tanks are always trying to crush the infantry, but with tanks, the issue is that they are A, very slow, so sometimes they just don't connect, and B, they do leave husks, and the husks block other vehicles from entering the cells that the infantry are basically stuck on, so the vehicles can't get in and connect. So it gets worse and worse the longer the battle goes on, because they create kind of makeshift tank traps or makeshift barricades for the infantry to hide behind. And that is not something you want. And with APCs, not only are they faster, also heavy armor, but they also do not leave husks. And that is an absolute boon in an infantry, in an all-out engagement with infantry, because you just crush anything in your way. Ooh, APC gets sniped, but he has revealed the tank flank. This is just 2 tanks and a little bit of infantry. Really, really scary army already out for Inno. But I feel the... Oh, again an early radar dome. He appears to be a fan of the early radar dome. Well, but again, army graph, fairly even. A little bit of a lead for Unano for the time being, so both players just doing their best to not float, to just deplete the bank. So, one should think that depleting your bank account is an easy job. Not an OpenRA if you don't have 7 racks, if you have your economy set up properly, and if you don't have the tech. But the tech is coming online right now. Oh, the sirens have started. This is such a weird tradition. I don't know, do any other countries still have this? Basically, each weekend there is a siren test. And it is super annoying because right now our smallest, who is just turning 2 years this week, he is sleeping outside on the terrace. And there's like a 50% chance that the siren test is gonna wake him up. So yeah. I think it's also the same in Germany, but I haven't seen it anywhere else just yet. Speaking of the youngest, he is such a hilarious kid. He can be really exhausting, but he has his own unique quirks. You know, he's starting to talk a lot. Ooh, those tanks being intercepted, nice. And he's having such hilarious and unique speech patterns right now. You know, he always, oh, here's the all-out engagement and the artillery's in the back lines. Maybe I'll have to finish that anecdote in game number 2 or after the engagement, depending on which comes first. Oh, that is going to be an absolute routing though. Look at the surround. APCs are going in. Yeah, that's what I was talking about. Really good connection from the APC. Gets basically all of the rocket infantry out of the way, and that is a complete wipe of Inno's army. Inno is being taken to the cleaners in this game. Ooh, that was such a good flank. Even with the artillery pressure, I feel like there is just nothing much left in the tank for Inno. So just like in the games against Fazar, his tech isn't paying off. It is coming a little too late. It is being countered by the mass and by the better positioning from Unano, who has honestly just had a great positional game here. Yeah, expansion down. I feel like that's it. Writings on the wall. Radar dome down, no more artilleries to come out. Empty ammo base. Ooh, could have been a good crash landing. Turns out to be a mediocre crash landing, but hey. And on the opposite side, this push has certainly not netted the results. So that is the 1-0 up. We are going to be back in game number 2. Maybe I'll get to finish the anecdote by then. See you in a sec.
Battle control terminated. Battle control initialized.
Alright, we're now in Malevolence, and time to finish the story about my boy. He's such a hilarious kid, you know. He's still not, he's still being breastfed most of the time. I mean, he also eats everything, but, you know, he's being breastfed as a supplement, I guess. And he doesn't want to let go of it. So, he always says, I want milk from mommy. And basically, yeah, he wants to be breastfed by then. And then we started teaching him other speech patterns, such as, don't you want milk not from mommy, but from a cow? And then for a while he was like, I want milk from a cow. And then we also switched over to, you know, other types of non-milk milks, like almond milk or oat milk. And then we just started telling him, don't you want milk from the oat? Or don't you want milk from the almond? And he was picking up on that real fast. Now he's like, I want milk from the almond. And then one day we fed him what is called milk bread, which is just this white bread which is made with milk instead of water in the dough, and it also contains a lot of sugar. It's basically a dessert, I guess, or a breakfast item for the most part. And then he started combining those things as well, because we told him that's milk bread. And now he's saying, I want milk from the bread, which is milk bread. And I find that absolutely adorable. But those stories aside, we are now on Malevolence. We are going to have the comm center captured for Unano. Nothing too special just yet. The aggression is kind of limited, the potential for aggression here. We've seen 3 grenadiers on this map, and we've seen them fail very, very spectacularly. Unano's Rifle Scouts confirms that there is nothing much to see. Power plants being protected by a single rifle is always good practice. What that does is basically prevents random engineer hits. Because those have decided games in the past. There have been games. There is 0 notification that something is being captured in OpenRA. And if you don't watch everything all at once, and if you don't have a 4K monitor, such as I do, which I can prove by zooming out here, if you don't have the luxury of having that, then it's going to be real problematic. Because you don't have to have your eyes on everything all at once. Okay, light tank opener for Unano, and Inno is going for econ only. I really like that on this map. That is a good idea, because really, what's the early game aggression gonna amount to? By the time you're across the map with your army, with your slow-ass infantry waddling around with their bazookas, you are basically going to be met with a wall of defenses and then expansion. Hospital hasn't been claimed, curiously. Malevolence also the map with the gem mines, and I really like that idea. You must repair the bridge in order to get some good harass in. Did almost play a role in the game of Inno versus Phasar. That was game number 3, I believe. Medics again being mixed in for Unano. Inno seems to shy away from that a little. The first sort of push out, but Inno definitely is on the he's on the defense. He knows that something's coming his way. Unano has already placed this expansion though, so really, really good timing. Oh, this could be okay. Oh, he revealed it by going too close to the oil derrick. That could have been a really good snipe otherwise. My lord, could that have been bad? If he had sniped the service depot, this would have meant no MCV for a very long time, and that would have forced Inno, and no tanks either. That would have forced Inno into building light tanks and going for a very subpar army. Oh man, that was kind of lucky. Oof, I'm hearing my little one scream in the background, so maybe I may have to take a break. Let's see how that develops. Because he's allowed to play his, there's this educational toy that's called Edurino, and he only has a limited time on it each day. It's basically only, we're trying to cut down on media usage. He says as he's casting a video game. A 25-year-old video game at that. But really not letting them consume too much media. But this Edorino stuff is really, you know, educational for educational purposes. Teaches them how to draw, how to write, and in a gamified way. So it's not too bad. They still have a limited time, but the middle one does not like the time limit. Oh, tank from Inno trying to find a run by. Only been met by a single rifle, so nothing too crazy here. And Inno is splitting up his forces. Half the army is going north. Ooh, he must have sniped an engineer there. The other half is going to venture to greener pastures. Another tank being snuck in, so Inno's been really good in the game against Phasar as well, at finding those random ass flanks. But Unano's on the ball. Unano warding off against those run-bys. No chance of random run-bys working here. No tech from him. Inno has once more fired up the radar forge. So in a couple of minutes time he's going to have the artilleries and the Black Hawks online, which is earlier than one would expect. But his econ is going to be a little bit behind as a result. Oh wow. That medium tank took out a rocket soldier. Look at that. This is a good timing window here. There's basically nothing for defense. Okay. If he goes in right now, he can push the base out. That is a really good timing window, and there's nothing here that would suggest that there's any sort of counter-aggression. Ooh, running into the pillbox though, that is a bit costly. But at the end of the day, he does kill the refinery and pulls the harvester offline. Came at a premium, he lost a lot of his army, but that's fine. There's basically not been any counter-aggression, and on the other side, oh! He's also killing a refinery, so really good. Basically, oh, kill the harvester as well. Precision attack, precision strike against Unano's economy. Also, the tank is back here, has scared one more harvester off. So it's 6 and 6 harvesters respectively. The army graph in Inno's favor though. He's now advancing onto the middle. Trying to go for a push on the north probably. Because right now, the eastern front is heavily defended. There's the artillery timer though. Timer is ticking. Helipad is coming online as well. We're gonna have the Black Hawks in just a minute. And this tank run by is being scouted, but it is being supported by a relatively sturdy army, and not only that, there's the first artillery. And right now it's gonna have shock factor, because this has not been scouted by Unano, I believe. Nope. Unano being completely left in the dark. Yeah, good position for Inno. Certainly liking his position in game number 2. This tank finally got warded off. In come the artillery shells. They come flying, but not connecting onto the infantry just yet. The ranger is scouting everything, putting a little bit of poke on the artillery. Oh, if he does the hit and run right, he's gonna get it. Yeah, no. Nope. Good positioning from Inno. Was a scary moment, but at the end of the day, amounts to nothing. Oh my goodness! He gets another harvester here. And that was just the random leftovers. The leftovers of this push getting a kill. The Radadome is online now, but that is gonna put Unano behind. He's still on 7 harvesters. Neither player is taking the gem mines. That is kind of a waste, I feel. Okay, artilleries are starting to lay siege. -1 harvester. It's now 8/6 harvesters for Inno. So he's starting to get into a better and better position. Also taking out the ore refinery once more. So at the end of the day, brilliant move. He is going to have to contest with this push though. He's somehow going to have to hold this. And that is a scary one. 8 tanks. Defensive formations. And are the tanks going to connect? Oh, right now he's standing still. But the infantry are so clustered. For both players, yeah, no. Unano cannot engage into this at all. Not by a long shot, and more tanks being shaved off here. Yeah, that was a good hold Perfect positioning from Inno. Didn't get the concave, but he got the first medium tanks, which spiraled the husk death cult that I was talking about. As soon as a couple husks start appearing, maneuvering your the rest of your tanks around the battlefield becomes so much infinitely worse. Both players broke. There are 4 helicopters for Inno. Jeez. What have they been accomplishing right now? I feel the ammo bays are somewhat depleted, so he must have done something. Alright. We've got the big flank, the blick flank, yep, the blick flank. Onto the economy, onto the econ, and Inno is probably assuming that there's going to be another refinery. The big price though is the service depot, because as soon as you force your opponent into building light units only... Oh! Tanya, but for who? Inno's helicopters get picked off. He needs one to... Wait, is that Inno's Tanya, or is that... Yeah, that's Inno's Tanya. Unano does not have tier 3 unlocked just yet. And the tank sledgehammer is crashing into the base. He killed the service depot. Yeah, oh my goodness, that helicopter has had a very short half-life. He doesn't know how much there's coming his way. If he knew, he would actually probably be engaging. Hold the line, hold the door, defensive formations being assumed. It all depends on how long the artilleries can stay alive against this tank here. Oh my goodness, they are doing an absolute number on the infantry, and nothing's connecting. Only now is one of the artilleries going down. I feel like this push is here to stay. Yeah, that is, even with it being cleaned up now, the entire army has dried up. And tier 3 is online. What more do you want, really? Inno in a great spot in game number 2. He absolutely took him to the clinic. Putting on an absolute clinic here. Does that look like a long... Oh, it is a longbow. Beautiful. I really like that. Longbows do not only have the highest, some of the highest line of sight outside of MiGs, but they also have crazy burst against, against anything armored. And the easiest way to counter them as allies would be your tier 3 radar jammers, but Unano is certainly not there. Let's see what's his production looking like. He's building an engineer. Oh, maybe he wants to get to the gems finally? Yeah. GG is being called, yeah. The longbow putting in the final missiles into the back of Unano. So, that is going to be the 1-1 equalizer. I think I'm gonna be calling quits today because my kid probably wants something from the Edorino toy factory. Alright, so we're gonna be back with the second half of this absolutely fantastic series thus far. So far this has really delivered. Oh, look at Tanya. Give me the gun salute. Hell yeah. Yeah, beautiful play thus far, and the 1-1 equalizer means that this series between Unano and Inno is definitely highly competitive. I'm looking forward to casting more. For now, thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. 5 aces. Out.
Battle control terminated.